So because theoretical and experimental probabilities are ratios, we can use proportions to make predictions. So if you expect to roll a number cubed 30 times, how many times do you expect to roll a number greater than 2 on a dice? So if I have a dice, the numbers greater than 2 are 3, 4, 5, and 6. That's 4 out of 6 numbers. So what if I had 30? So we can set up a proportion. I can multiply 6 times 5 to get 30. So I can do the same thing to the top. So 4 times 5 is 20. So I expect to have 20 times to get a number greater than 2. So George picks some apples at an orchard. For every 8 he picks, 1 had a worm. So I'm going to put 1 out of 8. If he picks 64 apples, how many can he predict to not have worms? If 1 out of 8 did have worms, not would be to subtract. So 8 minus 1, which is going to be 7. So 7 out of 8 did not have worms. And then I can multiply. So this time I can multiply 8 to get to 64, which is 8. Same thing on the top. So 7 times 8 is 56. So I have 56 apples that I can predict to not have worms. So the results of a random 7th grade survey at Summit Middle School showed 32 out of 70 students prefer listening to music. If there are 490 students in 7th, 8th, and 8th grade at Summit Middle School, approximately how many students would be expected to prefer to listen to music, country music? So we have 32 out of 70. We want to know what if we had 490. And again, the new total will go on the bottom because we're looking for out of how many have 490. So I can actually times this one by 7. So I'm going to do the top times 7. So I have 32 times 7, which is 224. Okay, Clayton selected a number of tiles of the bag. He recorded his results in the table. Based on these results, if Clayton draws 100 tiles, how many odd numbers should he expect to draw? So the number is the number of tiles. So we want the odd numbers, 1, 3, and 5. Frequency is the number of times it was done. So if I add up my list of numbers, these are 40 in all. So I'm going to count how many number ones was drawn. So that's 6, plus the number of 3s that were drawn, which is 5, plus number of 5s drawn, which was 18. So I have 18 out of 40. I want to know out of 100, how many will he expect to draw? So I have 18 times 100 because I can't do 40 into 100. So 1800, I'm going to divide it by 40. So I'm going to mark off a 0 to make it a little bit easier. 4 will go into 18 4 times. 4 will go into 25 times. So we expect him to draw 45 odd numbers out of 100. Okay, so for the last one, we have the probability that one wristband is defective. So 1 out of 20 is defective. If we had 840, how many would be defective out of 840? So I am going to go just cross multiply and divide this one. So 8 times 1 is 840. Divide it by the number with x, which is 20. I'm going to mark out a 0. So 2 will go into 8 4 times. 2 will go into 4 2 times. So we expect to get 42 wristbands that are defective. Okay, so let's look at a couple more. So if the spinner is spun 150 times, how many expect to be red? So we have 2 red ones, this one and this one. So we have 6 in all. Out of the 6, 2 are red. So I know how many are going to be out of 150. Okay, so we have 150 on the bottom, x on top. I'm going to cross multiply. So 2 times 150 is 300. I'm going to divide it with the number by x, which is 6. 6 will go into 35 times. 6 can't go into 0, and so it will be 50 times. So we expect to get the color red 50 out of 150 times. Okay, our last one, the results of a random survey of 8th grade students at Jamison Middle School showed that 15 out of 45 students like eating lunch at 10:30. If there are 330 students in the 8th grade at Jamison Middle School, approximately how many students would you expect to prefer eating lunch at 10:30? So we know 15 out of 45 like it at 10:30. but they want to know, what if we had 330 students? Okay, so we're going to cross multiply. So 330 times 15. And then I'm going to divide that by 45. And then we'll get our answer out of 330. So I get 110 students would be expected to eat lunch out of 330. So your homework will have a few questions just like what we just did.